Hello you guys, welcome back to my channel. I cannot believe I am at a point in my nursing school journey where I'm able to film this video. Today I'm going to be discussing all the things I wish I knew before I started nursing school, so the things that I know now. I am now going into my 4th semester of nursing school, so my final semester. Yay, I am so excited. I start in less than 2 weeks. I really don't want to go back to school. I'm on summer break right now. But without further ado, let's get started. I have a total of 15 things that I wish I knew. So number 1 is that your grades do not define you. If you are previously a straight A student or you have mostly A's and B's like most of us do when we enter nursing school, because that is a requirement to get into nursing school, you probably, or at least in my case, you probably won't be able to keep that up while in nursing school because the grading scale is so different from what I was used to in my prerequisites. So for instance, when you're doing your prereqs, a passing test score is a D. It's like 60% and that's passing. In nursing school, you have to get a 75 to pass, at least in my school. So you have to have an average of 75% on all of your test grades to actually pass the class. There's no rounding, there's no curving your grades, nothing like that. If you don't get above a 75, you do not pass. But with that being said, it is very difficult to get straight A's or to get an A on a test in general. I think I've had like maybe 3 A's in my whole entire nursing school journey. And obviously I strive for A's every time, like I work my ass off, but the tests are just extremely hard, at least in my program, which I'm sure most nursing schools, the tests are probably equally as hard. But getting B's and C's in nursing school does not define how good of a nurse you are going to be. At the end of the day, if you have a 75 in nursing school or if you have a 99, we're still getting the same degree. Like we're all still going to be getting our RN license. And I'm pretty sure jobs do not ask you what GPA you had in nursing school, at least as far as I know. Obviously I'm not a nurse yet, but from what I've heard from other nurses, the job is not going to ask you about your grades in nursing school. Now that doesn't mean not to try, but just know that if you get a bad grade on a test, that doesn't define the type of nurse that you are going to be. Okay, number 2 is when you're studying, do not memorize things, but apply them. When I was studying for my prerequisites, anatomy specifically, I would just straight memorize like everything, and I thought it was like not easy to study for anatomy, but a lot easier than it is for nursing school, because with nursing, you actually have to apply this information. You can't just memorize it, because if you memorize it, then you're not gonna know how to apply it, if that makes sense. So a trick that I like to use is called active recall, and I actually have a TikTok explaining how I do this, and it has over 1 million views now, and I think for good reason, because this is such a good study strategy, and I wish I knew this my first semester of nursing school, because I think I discovered this like my 2nd semester, and I think I would have done better in my 1st semester if I would have used this study technique. I will put the video here on the screen describing how I use active recall. Okay, if I could give you one study tip for nursing school, it is to use active recall. Here's how I do it. I use a whiteboard and 2 markers. I use a blue and a red. And in the blue, I will write down everything that I know from a certain disorder. For this one, it is inflammatory bowel disease. And then I'll go back and look through my notes and write down anything that I missed in red. It is just a great study method, and I find that I remember a lot more using it. Okay, number 3, there are so many free resources out there. Oh my god, this is something I wish I would have known my 1st semester, because it is actually insane. There are so many NCLEX questions out there. There are so many free PDF books that are so helpful. You could honestly waste so much money on buying textbooks and NCLEX study guides and stuff like that, because there's so many on Amazon. There's so many that people recommend, but if you just look, they are out there for free. I actually have a whole Google Drive of all of my PDFs that I have from nursing school, and I will put that in the description. So all you have to do is click on it, and then you have all of these free PDFs with free NCLEX practice questions that you can use throughout your nursing school journey. It is literally just amazing. There's so many free resources out there. Do not waste your money on all of these NCLEX practice books. Okay, number 4 is not gonna apply for everyone, but it applies for me, and that is to have a study group or to study with someone else. Over my years of studying, I have definitely learned that I study way better with someone else or with a group than I do by myself. And I think it's because I just get way too distracted when I'm studying by myself. Like, I'll be studying and then I'll daydream, and then I'm like, oh shit, like I should be studying, not daydreaming, and then I just like get off track. I don't know. When I'm studying with someone else, they like hold me accountable, and also we can ask each other questions questions. We can learn from each other. So if like one person doesn't know something, then you can explain it to them, and by doing that, you are teaching yourself a little bit better. But I do know a lot of people that study better on their own. Like one of my friends literally gets such good grades and she studies all by herself. I don't really understand how, because I am just not that way. Like I know that I study better with people, and it's also more fun because sometimes you do obviously get off topic and you talk to them as a friend, which is also fun, but then you have to like, you know, get back on track and actually be studying. So I don't know, a lot of people say that studying with people is kind of a waste of time because a lot of the time you're off topic so much during that study session. But for me personally, I get off track when I'm with myself more than when I'm with friends. I don't know. Okay, and number 5, you will meet some of the best people in nursing school. I know for me, I have literally met my best friends in nursing school. Like they're some of the best people, and we have so many like common interests. Obviously we're all interested in nursing, so that makes us already have that in common, and we're just all struggling with nursing school together. So it is so nice to like have people to relate to. So obviously when you're stressed out with school, you can talk about it with them, and they probably feel the same way because you guys are going through literally the same thing, the same program, and it's just nice to have people to relate to. And also like literally new best friends. The people I have met in nursing school are literally my actual best friends now. I'm actually gonna be a bridesmaid in one of my best friend's weddings, so I'm so excited for that. But just know that you will probably meet some great people in nursing school and literally just make the most amazing friends ever. It is awesome. It's so funny because before nursing school, I actually wrote in my journal, I will meet my best friends in nursing school. I like to manifest things in my journal, and I manifested that. I would have to say I did meet some of my best friends in nursing school. Okay, number 6 is that you can have a life outside of nursing school. Before I started nursing school, I used to watch videos like this, and a lot of people said that you will not have a life outside of nursing school. You will be consumed with studying. You will not have any time for anyone else. You won't have a social life, all of that stuff. And I'm here to tell you that it is literally just about having balance. You need to be able to prioritize your time and make time for the people in your life, but also let them know what you're going through. So if you have an exam coming up, you know that you're gonna have to study like so many days and probably not be able to give them that much attention. Like for instance, if you have a significant other, like I live with my boyfriend, but he knows what I am going through, and that is honestly so nice because he knows that I don't have a lot of time. But I always try to like schedule out certain days, even if it's just for like a couple of hours, just to hang out with him or like go to dinner or do something like that. And he also helps me study a lot, so I feel like that I kind of feel like we're hanging out when we're doing that because it makes it more fun when he's quizzing me and stuff, unless I get mad because he asked a question wrong or can't pronounce words. You can have a life outside of nursing school, and it is literally just about prioritizing your time because you will be studying a lot, but you will still be able to make time for your loved ones. Okay, and kind of going along with this, I don't know what number we're on. Number 7, I think. Number 7, you can work while in nursing school. This is another thing that I heard from a lot of people before starting nursing school, is that you will not have time to work, you will not be able to have a job anymore, blah blah blah, but you can honestly make it work. For me, I only work 1 day a week while I'm in school, and I think this is plenty for me, but I also don't have to like pay rent, or I don't have a ton of bills. I do still have bills to pay. I do have money that I've saved from working during summer break and also working before nursing school, so I don't have to like work so much during nursing school, but you can honestly make it work. It's funny because at least for me, when I have too much time on my hands during nursing school, like say I take the weekend off of work, I am probably not going to be studying for at least 8 of those hours during the weekend. So those 8 hours I could be working. Does that make sense? Like, you are not going to study for the whole 16 hours that you're awake. You will probably be distracting yourself with other things and not being on topic and focused for the entire day. So you might as well be working and then just study for a couple hours after work and just make that like focused time. At least 1 day on the weekend. That's what I like to do, is just 1 day. But there are people in my program that work way more than me. For instance, there's this one girl in my class that works full-time night shift. Full-time, which I am like, wow. And she's actually doing like really well, you know? It's crazy. You gotta do what you gotta do. I know she studies at work and she like listens to the lecture through her headphones while she's working. So you literally just, you gotta do what you gotta do. So you can make it work. It's just about prioritizing your time, once again. Okay, number 8 is to have a strong support system. So if you you live with your family or you have a boyfriend, you have good friends, you have to just let them know that you are gonna be struggling probably for the next 2 years. Not every day, but a lot of the days probably. And you may not be able to be there for them like you have before, or you're gonna need them to be there for you a lot more. Having people that you can go to when you're stressed out, like for instance, if you need someone to take more of the chores. When I'm in school, me and my boyfriend, we usually like split chores pretty evenly, I'd say, or I do even more when I'm not in school. But when I am in school, I let him know that, hey, I need help with these certain things because I don't have time to do them. I need to be studying. Or, hey, can you make dinner tonight? Because usually I'm the one that cooks, but during school, like obviously I don't have a lot of time to cook, so I always ask him at least a couple days a week if he can cook, because cooking takes some time away from my studying, and he's always there to help me. So it's really nice to have people there for you. And also financially, like I'm not going to be able to pay for a lot of things during nursing school because I only have that 1 day a week that I'm working. So while I'm in school, he is paying more of the bills than I am. It is very helpful to have people that can help you. Okay, number 9 is you will fail things in nursing school. Not just tests, but there is skills that you have to do. There are little like math exams, just procedures that you have to do in the hospital. For example, I failed one of our skills, like my first semester, which was inserting a catheter in the skills lab. And let me just tell you, I did not practice enough for this, and I was just thinking I wanted to get it over with. So I was one of the first people to go, and joke's on me because I broke the sterile field and I had to redo the whole skill all over again. And I was so freaking stressed about this because I was like, what if I fail it again? Like they're gonna kick me out of the program. Just take a deep breath and just practice and do it again. You will fail probably at least once. If it's not a skill, then maybe a test. I have also failed tests, and it is not the end of the world. Like you just have to pick yourself back up, take some deep breaths, and just keep going. Like do not dwell on it because you will be stressed out and you will not do as well on things in the future. You just have to let it go, and you have to just put it behind you and just keep moving forward, because at the end of the day, nursing school is very hard and there are things that you are not going to be good at. So just keep going. It is so discouraging to fail a test, especially in nursing school, but at the end of the day, that one test does not define your entire grade. Just study harder for the next test and you will do better, and just learn from your mistakes and you'll be fine. Okay, number 10, I already kind of discussed this, but the grading scale is different in nursing school, and there's also different types of questions. So instead of just being multiple choice, there's also select all and apply questions. And if you don't know what this is, basically you have a question and then you have like 5 answer choices, and there are going to be multiple right answer choices for this question. So for instance, 2 of the 5 answer choices could be correct, so you have to select all the ones that you think are right. So you treat each answer choice like a true or false question. Like, is this answer choice true for the question? If it is, then you select it. If it's not, you don't select it. And these are very tricky because when I first started nursing school, these questions were either right or wrong. If you selected 2 out of 5 answers of this question, but the answer was actually 3 out of 5, then you would just get the entire question wrong. But now I know they're changing it to where you get partial credit if you did select some of the right answers, which is honestly, oh my god, it is such a game changer, and I'm so happy they changed this because I did so much better on select all and apply questions in my last semester than I did like in my first semester. But also for my school, like they ease us into it. So like our first semester, we only had, I think we only had like a few tests that had like 1 select all and apply question on it. And then second semester, I think it got like a little bit more, like we had like 2. And then this previous semester, we had a lot of select all and apply. It was like probably a good 10 to 15 on each test out of like 60 questions. But yeah, just the questions in general are just so different from what I was used to in my prereqs. Like they require so much critical thinking, and it's very hard to explain, but once you get there, you will see what I mean. And it's definitely a learning curve, learning how to study for nursing school versus like studying for your prereqs, because it's not just straightforward answers, it involves a lot of critical thinking. But you will figure out how to study. At least for me, I didn't do very well in my first couple of tests when I first started nursing school, but once I learned how to study, I was improving like pretty much every test score, and now I'm very comfortable with how they test us in nursing school. Obviously it's still so fucking hard hard, but I at least like know how to pick an answer based on the question without knowing everything, if that makes sense. Like I can reason myself through the answer choices better than when I first started nursing school and I had no idea how to answer questions like this. Number 11 is to apply for financial aid and scholarships. I wish I did this my first semester, because if you're working like as much as I am in nursing school, like just one day a week, you're not making very much money, you are probably able to apply for financial aid and get financial aid because you're not making very much money. This can very well pay for like your entire class. At least for me, I got enough financial aid to cover the cost of my classes, and I just had to pay for like textbooks and stuff like that. Also, there are so many scholarships out there to apply to. I have personally never gotten a scholarship that I've applied to, but I haven't applied to that many, which I should apply for more. But one of my friends got 3 scholarships, another one of my friends got a scholarship, so there's money out there, and scholarships are not that hard to apply for. You do have to write like a little essay for them, but if you do end up getting them, a couple $100s you can use, or like thousands of dollars you can use toward your classes and stuff like that. So definitely apply for financial aid and scholarships, because that is just free money and that'll just help you out. Number 12, but probably one of the most important, is to take care of your mental and physical health while you're in nursing school. This makes such a huge difference. Prioritizing your sleep, prioritizing your mental health by meditating, exercising helps my mental health so much. Like, it is so important, and it helps prevent feeling like nursing school is just taking over your entire life, because it can definitely feel like that when you're just studying for like hours on end in a day and no breaks, nothing. Like, you can't do that, because you're gonna burn out so fast and you're just gonna dread nursing school, and it's just not a fun time. You need to take care of yourself. For me, what I like to do is before every exam, I always meditate for at least 10 minutes, and this just helps like ease my nerves and clear my head. I swear I always do better when I meditate before a test. My anxiety is like, it goes down a little bit, you know, because I definitely have test anxiety, so meditating a little bit helps. Also, exercising helps tremendously, and this doesn't even have to be like intense exercise. Like, you could literally go for a walk. For me, this helps so much. Like, if I'm studying and I just feel like I'm not retaining any information anymore, like I've studied for too long, I will literally just get up and just go outside and just take a walk, and this helps so much. Getting some sunlight, not thinking about school for a second. And something else that has really helped me is studying and walking at the same time. Sometimes I will sit there and study and I will just be falling asleep, so I will just get up and go on my treadmill and just start doing practice questions or watching videos or something, and I swear I retain the information so much better when I am moving or I am standing. This has just helped me so much, and I wish I would have started that first semester, because I started doing that second semester, like walking on the treadmill and studying, and it's just been a game changer, honestly. Also, going along with this, I think one of the things to go first is like taking care of yourself, but I feel like it's so important, at least for me, when I take care of myself, when I eat healthy meals, when I take time out of my day to go for a walk or to do something for myself, take a bath, literally just do my skincare, something self-care. When I take time out of my day to do one of those things, I feel literally 10 times better. I just feel like I can study a lot better when I take care of myself, and I'm not dreading it as much. Still kind of dreading studying because it's not the most fun thing in the world, but not as much. Number 13 is that being a CNA before nursing school is very helpful, but it is not something that's mandatory. Let's just say that I was a CNA before I started nursing school, and I think it has helped me tremendously, because you are learning how to take care of a patient. You are learning how to be in the healthcare setting, how to work with other healthcare workers, and honestly how to communicate with patients. I wasn't as scared to go into clinicals as I think I would have been if I wasn't a CNA first. Going into clinical, it's basically like you're doing the same thing as a CNA. Like, obviously you're doing additional skills as a nurse, but especially when you first start clinicals, you are basically just doing the CNA skills. Like, I remember our first couple clinicals, they just had us shadow a CNA and we were just helping them. So I was like, this is a piece of cake, because I already know how to do this. I felt like I could communicate with patients very easily because I'm used to it with my job as a CNA. But that being said, you do not need to have healthcare experience before going into nursing school. There are so many people in my program that have no healthcare experience at all, and they are perfectly fine in clinicals. Like, yeah, it's very intimidating at first, but eventually you do get more comfortable with dealing with patients. I just think that being a CNA first is helpful if you can do it. And you can also work as a CNA during nursing school, like I do, like once a week, and I feel like it helps just to get that extra experience. It's not the most fun job, but you get used to it. Trust me, I've been a CNA for 2 years and I've definitely gotten used to it over time. When I first started, it was very scary, but that's a whole other topic, so we're not gonna talk about that. But okay, coming down to our 2 last things. Number 14 is to be so freaking organized. Okay, buy yourself a planner, or if you have an iPad, you can download like a digital planner for free, which is what I do, and literally just take all of those dates that you have assignments due and write them into your calendar. I like to do this like in my own calendar, like they give us one, but for me, I just like to have everything in my own calendar. That way I can put like also things that I have going on in my life, like if I have a wedding to go to or just something to do on the weekend, like I can also write that into my calendar as well. I can write my days that I'm working into my own calendar, and I like to color coordinate things. So for instance, I'll make work purple and then I'll have like my assignments in orange or something like that. And I feel like this just helps me stay organized. I also like to have a daily plan, which allows you to time block your day. So I'll put one on the screen of what I'm talking about, but basically it'll start at like 7 a.m. and then it'll go down to like 10 p.m. and each hour you could write something that you're going to be doing. And I like to do this so that way I can block out times that I'm going to take breaks. I always like to have 3 meals a day, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So I like to write out when I'm going to have breakfast, lunch, and dinner, or like an estimated time. Obviously it doesn't have to be perfect, but, and then I also like to work out like 3 to 4 days a week. So I will write a workout in there if I'm going to be doing that for the day. And I will also write out if I have to work. I will put in all my times that I'm going to be studying. What I like to do is plan out my life before I plan out my study schedule, if that makes sense. I will plug in my study hours, like where I do not have something to do during that day. Like say I have to work that day, I will plug in work. Say from 6 a.m. to 4 p.m. is usually like about my work time, like including my commute and stuff. So I'll plug that into my daily plan, and then after I will put like, okay, study from 4:30 p.m. to 7 p.m. like a few hours of just solid studying. That way you know that when you get home you can take a little break, like a 30-minute break, and then you're gonna be studying for like 3.5 hours uninterrupted and just sit down and do your studying. I hope that makes sense. Another thing I like to incorporate into my planner is like I'll do a weekly agenda. I will write down when I'm actually going to do the assignments. Instead of just the due date, I will write down, okay, this assignment's due on Friday, but I'm gonna do it on Wednesday. So that way you know when you're actually gonna complete the assignment and you don't just wait until the last day to do it. That is definitely a great hack that I have for you because I've learned the hard way. Okay, my last tip is kind of just a study tip, and that is to use the Pomodoro method. I wish I knew this my first semester of nursing school. There's 2 methods to use. There's one that's 25-5 and then there's one that's 50-10. So the one I like to use is the 50-10. So you study for 50 minutes straight and then you take a 10-minute break. So during that 10 minutes, you can literally do whatever you want. Set a timer for 10 minutes. Once that 10 minutes is up, you get back to studying for another 50 minutes and then you take another break for another 10 minutes and just keep going like that. And that is the Pomodoro method. And I feel like that helps because there's like studies that show that you cannot focus for longer than 50 minutes at a time. I feel like that's very true because if I've tried to study for longer than that, I will get very distracted and just feel like I'm not retaining any information anymore. And that is basically all I have for you guys. I feel like this video was so freaking long and I feel like I probably could have given more, but that is all I have for now. Please comment down below if you have anything that you wish you knew before starting nursing school, because I feel like sometimes the best information out there is in the comments of videos. Like I like to read information in other people's videos and I feel like it's often very helpful. So please comment down below anything that you wish you knew before starting nursing school. Thank you guys so much for watching and I'll see you in the next one.